Pretty soon. Thanks for coming. I'm Lisa Cisneros, the Senior Director in University Relations, and I want to tell you that today's event is being live streamed on YouTube, where you can join the live chat and pose questions. You can also use the hashtag UCSFSOTU to join the conversation on Twitter. It's again my sincere pleasure to introduce to you UCSF Chancellor Sam Hawgood.
Thank you, Lisa, and let me welcome all of you here this afternoon to what is my third annual State of the University address. I hope I convince you over the next little while that it has been a terrific year for UC San Francisco this past year. The theme of my address this afternoon is invested in our community, which describes our deep and abiding commitment to fulfilling our role as a public university through the missions of research, education, and patient care. Now, we achieve that commitment by leveraging our rich history of collaboration. And we know that together we are most effective when we work side by side with our partners across the public and private sectors, including industry, other higher education institutions, health providers, and government, as well as with our neighbors, our alumni, our patients, and our supporters. Today, I am pleased to share the results of a new economic and fiscal impact study that confirms UCSF's considerable investment and involvement in our community and the university's powerful role as an anchor institution that contributes to the economic health, intellectual vigor, and entrepreneurship spirit of the Bay Area and beyond. I will also report on the progress we've made on achieving the 4 priorities I outlined for the campus at last year's address. But to begin, I would like to share some of the great news that has propelled our momentum nationally in the last year. Recently, we announced the exciting news that UCSF is joining forces with UC Berkeley and Stanford University to establish the BioHub. The BioHub is a new biomedical science research center that will be funded by a $600 million commitment from Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg and UCSF alumna and pediatrician Priscilla Chan. This may indeed be the single largest commitment to basic science in history. Now, the BioHub will be co-directed by UCSF's Joe DeRisi, Professor and Chair of Biochemistry and Biophysics here, and Stanford's Steve Quake, a Professor of Bioengineering and Physics. They'll enable scientists and engineers to work together to build new tools and technologies that will empower the entire scientific community and advance progress to benefit humanity. Now, the BioHub, as enormous as it is part of an even larger Chan-Zuckerberg initiative, which has the audacious goal to cure, prevent, or manage all disease by the end of this century. And their purpose is to accelerate basic science research to achieve this audacious goal. It is fitting indeed that the BioHub is making its home at Mission Bay, adjacent to our campus, further fostering San Francisco's rich and diverse health and life sciences ecosystems. I certainly am personally grateful to the extraordinary vision and generosity of Mark and Priscilla, and I know that you all share that sentiment. Also, last month, we congratulated Bruce Alberts, a member of our faculty for 40 years. Bruce is not unfortunately, but unfortunately for me, so I can't honor him in person, but he's on a flight to the East Coast right now and can't be with us. But he was honored with the Lasker Koechlin Special Achievement Award in Medical Science for his lifetime achievements. A Lasker Award is indeed the highest honor in our field in the United States. Bruce is being recognized for his fundamental discoveries in DNA replication and protein biochemistry, for his leadership in multiple national, international scientific organizations, and his dedication to improving science education throughout the world. We'll hear more about Bruce's leadership of this Science and Education Health Partnership later in the talk. Just last week, the National Science Foundation awarded $24 million over 5 years to a new center for cellular construction. This center aims to transform the field of cell biology into a quantitative discipline using tools from engineering, the physical sciences, and computer science to design automated machines out of living cells. UCSF researchers, including Wallace Marshall, Wendell Lim, and Zev Gartner, will partner from colleagues at San Francisco State University, Stanford University, UC Berkeley, and IBM Research to collaborate on developing new scientific tools to allow scientists around the globe reliably engineer cells for desired functions. These include creating living bioreactors that can generate products of commercial value such as drugs and biofuels in vivo. The BioHub and the Center for Cellular Construction are just two examples of the basic science that is the lifeblood of what we do here at UCSF. They also represent great progress to one of my 4 priorities, that is creating transformative partnerships throughout the Greater Bay Area. Now, I'd also like to recognize our clinicians and researchers, Mitch Berger and Jeff Bluestone, who were among panelists to contribute recommendations for the National Cancer Moonshot Initiative. In February, we were honored to welcome Vice President Joe Biden and his wife, Dr. Jill Biden, to UCSF during their national tour to better understand the state of cancer research and care. In March, I went to Washington with Barbara French and Keith Yamamoto to meet with the Vice President's team to continue this conversation in our quest to prevent cancer and improve the outcomes. The work of Mitch and Jeff, along with the contributions of other UCSF faculty, including Alan Ashworth, the head of the Helen Diller Family Comprehensive Cancer Center, will continue to create opportunities for UCSF to make a significant contribution in the Cancer Moonshot Initiative. On a related note, UCSF is set to launch a major cancer initiative here in San Francisco. Under the leadership of Alan Ashworth, pictured here with Pam Munster, and with the collaboration with Bob Hyatt, UCSF has been working across multiple sectors here in the city to develop an initiative to reduce the burden of cancer in San Francisco over the coming decades. Called SF-CAN, this initiative envisaged a long-term, systematic, coordinated approach with public, private, and nonprofit partners across the San Francisco health system to reduce the burden of cancer. You'll be hearing more about SF-CAN soon. Now, UCSF is able to explore, create, and establish these kind of innovative programs thanks in large part to our incredibly generous donor community. And I'm proud to report that UCSF has had another stellar year in philanthropy, raising nearly $600 million from more than 26,000 donors. As a result, in 2015, we were the only public university in the top 10 fundraising universities in the country, coming in 4th behind Stanford, Harvard, and the University of Southern California. Now, we were able to accomplish this feat for 2 major reasons. First, of course, the tremendous generosity, commitment, and belief that our donor community has in the work being done here at UCSF. And secondly, the world-class talent of our faculty, staff, and trainees. Now more than ever, realizing our vision requires increasing levels of philanthropy so we can make even more significant contributions in research, education, healthcare, and public service. This level of achievement will only be possible with the continued strong partnership with our donor community. Let me highlight just a few accomplishments from the last year. This year, we launched the UCSF Weill Institute for Neurosciences, thanks to the transformative $185 million gift from the Weill Family Foundation and Joan and Sandy Weill. The gift was the largest single donation in our history, and it will support and probably the largest donation to the neurosciences in the United States. The goal of the Weill Institute for Neurosciences is to develop new therapies for brain and nervous system diseases. And reinforcing the impact of the Weill gift is a commitment from Bill and Susan Obendorf of $25 million to further research in the basic underpinnings of mental health and behavioral science. Further fueling our work in neuroscience in this last year was this year's grant from the Atlantic Philanthropies to UCSF and Trinity College Dublin to create the Global Brain Health Institute. This groundbreaking worldwide initiative aims to stem the precipitous rise in dementia by training and connecting a new generation of leaders in the fields of dementia. The landmark grant of $177 million, the largest program ever made by Atlantic Philanthropies, embodies the commitment of the founder of Atlantic, Chuck Feeney, to address global challenges with big, bold visions. Finally, in this last year, Silicon Valley entrepreneur Sean Parker and the Parker Foundation gave cancer immunotherapy a major boost with a $250 million grant, a portion of which will benefit UCSF, to establish the Parker Institute for Cancer Immunotherapy. Under the direction of UCSF immunologist Jeff Bluestone, the Institute unites 6 of the nation's top cancer centers with the goal of developing breakthrough immune therapies capable of turning cancer into a curable disease. Now, as I mentioned in my introduction, today we released a new economic and fiscal impact report that highlights myriad ways in which UCSF is invested in our community. It demonstrates that the state of UCSF is strong and getting stronger. The report confirms that UCSF, a $5.4 billion enterprise in the last year, drives the local and regional economies. Together, we create thousands of jobs, uncover new knowledge, and spur innovation. These are all benefits that extend well beyond the boundaries of San Francisco and the 9-county Bay Area. We last released an economic report in 2010. Since then, UCSF's total economic output, that is the cumulative value of all of our activities in employment, job creation, operations, construction, and spending, has increased from $6.2 billion to $8.9 billion in the Greater Bay Area, representing a 24% increase in inflation-adjusted dollars. What this means is that UCSF continues to be an integral part of the local and regional economy. Specifically, UCSF is a critical component of the area's thriving health and life science sector. Our economic strength means that UCSF is able to employ more than 24,000 people. This year, UCSF has surpassed the state of California as the 4th largest employer in the Bay Area. We remain the 2nd largest employer in San Francisco, behind the city and county itself. Now, UCSF is committed to providing ongoing professional development and training for all of our employees and opening doors of opportunity to people in our own neighborhoods. The Economic Impact Report highlights UCSF's leadership as a generator of new knowledge in science and health. UCSF ranks 5th overall amongst the world's top universities as measured by the number of faculty published papers and citations in peer-reviewed scientific journals. UCSF also continues to receive the most research funding, more than $560 million last year, from the National Institutes of Health. This ranks us as the 1st amongst all public institutions and 2nd overall. Now, as you know, unlike the other 9 campuses of the University of California, we do not offer undergraduate education. Instead, we train nearly 5,000 graduate and professional students. Once they graduate, UCSF alumni of our 4 professional schools and our graduate division contribute to the health and economy of our region. As shown here, San Francisco is home to 8,500 of our alumni, representing 40% of the 25,000 alumni that call the Bay Area home. UCSF's entrepreneurial drive to improve health and find better, safer, and less costly therapies, medical devices, diagnostics, research tools, and software spurs innovation and startups that translate these advances for societal benefit. As a national leader in the biotech and life sciences sector, UCSF has spurred more than 185 startups that invent and commercialize products since 1968. For example, UCSF provides incubator space at the California Institute for Quantitative Biosciences, or QB3, and in 2014 alone, companies that have emerged from QB3 received 50 grants, 14 patents, and generated $600 million in funding. The entrepreneurial spirit is alive and growing, due in part to the work of our Entrepreneurship Center and the Clinical and Translational Science Catalyst programs, which support the translation of early discoveries towards commercial application. Both programs provide industry expertise, mentorship, and consultation on business strategy, courses on product development, intellectual property, and commercialization. In addition to the science, the expanding UCSF health system has become a major player in the Northern California health sector and is partnering with other institutions to extend high-quality care to more people throughout the Bay Area. This growth in patient demand for our services has propelled UCSF Health's total operating budget to $3.2 billion this last year, nearly 60% of the entire university's operating budget. UCSF Health also offers care to those who can't afford it. Our physicians and allied health professionals, trainees, and students do so in many, many ways, including offering free public health screenings and services and providing more than $127 million annually in undercompensated and charity care. We lead and partner with community groups such as the San Francisco Health Improvement Program and UCSF Center for Community Engagement to address health disparities throughout the Bay Area. Our health professionals also serve vulnerable populations through our long-standing partnership with the Zuckerberg San Francisco General Hospital and San Francisco Veterans Affairs Medical Center. We realize that while the economy has improved since the Great Recession that started in 2008, not everyone has benefited from the financial turnaround. I share mounting concerns that I'm sure you all have as well about the income inequality in San Francisco as the wage gap between low-income earners and high-income earners widens. We know that UCSF's most valuable resource is its people. We provide our staff with ongoing professional and leadership development opportunities through UCSF's Learning and Organizational Development Department, as well as other opportunities for learning, mentoring, and network. We are developing the workforce in UCSF's surrounding communities, focusing particularly in the southeast section of the city and providing San Francisco residents with access to UCSF jobs through training and construction hiring programs. We will continue to engage with the community to further foster employment opportunities. In addition, we have been working in the last year on multiple fronts to address the high cost of housing and attending this university for our students. On March 15th, Vice Chancellor Liz Watkins was able to announce a new needs-based cost of living supplement pilot program for all UCSF students. We are also increasing scholarship opportunities and expanding our housing, including an innovative partnership with UC Hastings to offer housing for our students on the Hastings campus. Now let me switch to the 4 priorities that I outlined in my State of the University address last year. I'm pleased that we have made considerable progress on each of the 4 priority areas. To remind you, these areas are improving the education and learning experience for all at UCSF, striving for greater equity and inclusion, which includes addressing health disparities, advancing precision medicine approaches to improve health, and finally, fostering transformative partnerships across the multiple sectors that we relate to. All 4 schools and the graduate division have been working to innovate the curriculum and to improve teaching and learning experiences to engage students, particularly in interdisciplinary teams. In August, Dean Talmadge King welcomed the first class of students into the School of Medicine's new Bridges curriculum, considered to be the most innovative medical education program offered anywhere. Under the leadership of Vice Dean Catherine Lucy, the Bridges program trains students to understand medicine today, the science of medicine, and to anticipate and shape how it will evolve tomorrow. Our students are engaged to think about how to continuously improve and measure health outcomes. They will also be engaged to recognize the importance of the social context of health to better understand the diversity of perspectives in an ever-growing multicultural society. The schools of dentistry and pharmacy are also deeply engaged at the present time in curriculum innovation. This year, we launched a new innovative PhD program in global health sciences to invest in future leaders devoted to making the world a healthier place. 5 candidates are enrolled in the 4-year research degree. This builds on the strong legacy created in global health sciences here at UCSF by Emeritus Chancellor Haile Debas and now carried on by Jaime Sepulveda, the Director of our Global Health Sciences. Here in San Francisco, we are proud of a nearly 30-year partnership with the San Francisco Unified School District to improve science and health education. This program was the brainchild of Bruce Alberts, who I mentioned earlier, recognized by the Lasker Foundation, and his partner at the time, David Ramsey. The Science and Health Education Partnership, or SEP, is recognized as a national model aimed at inspiring teachers and students alike with active learning. Today, SEP teaches thousands of K-12 students in about 90% of San Francisco's public schools. Let's take a closer look at this amazing program with this video.
It was 1986 or so when I suddenly realized that this great university was not making enough contribution to the really needy San Francisco public school system. I helped to co-found the Science and Health Education Partnership because I believe that science is critical for the world and that every adult needs to have a scientific attitude.
So we have a range of programs both for teachers and volunteers to be involved. The high school intern program is really near and dear to my heart. We work to identify students who wouldn't typically be considered for internship programs in labs. We look for a diverse pool of students, many of whom have overcome obstacles. So our students who end up being selected are very often low income. They come from minority or immigrant backgrounds, and they have tremendous potential, but they haven't necessarily realized that in themselves yet.
Interns like us and students like us don't have many opportunities at school because our course load is very heavy, and so that's why I wanted to be in an internship like this that has the whole focus on being inside a lab and learning about actual science. In school we learn about things and we usually learn it from books, but here we get hands-on experience, and that was the most exciting part of it.
Our kind of bread and butter, what we were founded on, were the classroom-based partnerships, and these partner UCSF scientist volunteers, and we use a very broad definition of scientists, so these are grad students, postdoctoral fellows, and health professional students largely. They work one-on-one with a teacher in an extended semester-long partnership, so the students get to develop a sustained relationship with scientist role models in the classroom. We have a lending library of materials to support hands-on science in classrooms. It's really hard to do science if you don't have a graduated cylinder. We're the lead organizer of the Bay Area Science Festival. So this is a 10-day-long celebration of the science and engineering that makes the Bay Area tick. We highlight the work of UCSF throughout the festival, and more than 100,000 people attended festival events last year.
The other major impact that I think we never expected is on the university. And there are many graduate students and postdocs who got inspired and chose science education as a career. Rebecca Smith is one of these people. There are many others across the United States, including national leaders now who came out of UCSF and were influenced by the partnership. Well, I would like the partnership to be even more ambitious. My frustration is we have not yet been able to profoundly change what happens in the school day inside of schools. San Francisco should have the world's best science education in school for their children. And I'm still struggling to figure out how to make that happen.
So you can see that 40 years into his faculty appointment, Bruce is not yet willing to rest. Now, the second priority that we identified last year focuses on equity and inclusion. We aim to create an environment here at UCSF and within our broader community that is equitable, inclusive, welcoming, secure, and where everyone feels respected and empowered to reach their full potential. I am fully committed to this important goal. Our students are central to this effort and have encouraged us to continue striving for social justice through the White Coats for Black Lives movement. Just last Tuesday, about 200 students organized a vigil to mourn and mark the memory of recent lives lost. We commend all those who raised their voices for social justice. Now, the Office of Diversity and Outreach is the central hub for this work, partnering with stakeholders and allies across the university and throughout our community. Under the leadership of Vice Chancellor Renee Navarro, the office has introduced new programs and hosted events that encourage an ongoing dialogue to confront issues of racism, discrimination, unconscious bias, sexual assault and harassment, and social justice. The Teach-In with Soledad O'Brien in February engaged more than 800 people across our campus who joined in the conversation in this hall or watched live on the webcast. This summer, the Diversity Office launched a new staff certificate program with 20 participants in the inaugural class to enhance understanding of the many concepts related to diversity and to build alliances that will extend well beyond the walls of our campus. Applications are now being accepted for the winter course starting in 2017. All 4 schools are investing considerable time and resources to optimize UCSF's culture of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Success in this work is critical to our achieving our institutional goals to close gaps in inequities in health and employment, and to help everyone within our diverse community have an equal chance to succeed. The Differences Matter is one such initiative that involves representatives from across the campus all working together to meet these goals. Now, all of our incoming students this year are as well prepared and as passionate as they ever have been, but I'm particularly excited that this year 25% of our almost 1,000 new students entering UCSF are the first in their families to college, and fully 50% are the first in their families to graduate school. That represents what a public university should be doing, and I would really like to thank our deans of admission and all of their hardworking committees for this very, very gratifying result. The work of fostering equity and inclusion focuses on our ongoing efforts to eliminate health disparities, including amongst the most vulnerable populations that we serve. One of the programs focused on serving the community's needs in the San Francisco Health Improvement Project's Children's Oral Health Collaborative. Let's learn more about this program.
Chinatown is the home of many low-income immigrant Chinese children and their families. And the children here have the highest rates of caries among all the children in San Francisco.
Many people aren't aware that dental decay is the most common chronic childhood disease. And if left untreated, can lead to long-lasting negative impacts for the child and the family. San Francisco's population is significantly affected by this epidemic. We see disparities across race and ethnicity, as well as neighborhoods in our city, and our goal is to achieve health equity across San Francisco.
The problem needs to be addressed at many levels, certainly clinical, but importantly at a community level.
So here at UCSF's School of Dentistry's Center to Address Disparities in Oral Health, or the Can-Do Center, we have been doing research around fluoride varnish and its efficacy in reducing the incidence of dental decay in young preschool-aged children. This important evidence has been translated into policy and practice in several ways. The health centers here in San Francisco now routinely apply fluoride varnish in children in these community clinics. The fluoride varnish integration has become one of our key strategic priority areas of focus for the San Francisco Children's Oral Health Collaborative, which is a group of diverse stakeholders across multiple sectors, disciplines, and organizations, including the San Francisco Department of Public Health, academic, other civic and child care and healthcare and community partners.
At China Public Health Center, we began doing fluoride varnish in the pediatric primary care visit in September 2015, and that was in response to a community meeting that we attended where we learned of the oral health disparities that exist right at our doorstep. And we realized that we had to do something about it because that's what we do as public health professionals.
UCSF has demonstrated their commitment and engagement in the community by helping us establish a task force here in Chinatown. But they've also taken leadership in the mission for the Latino community and also in the Bayview for the African American community. We really appreciate the partnership we've been able to have and their leadership to address this problem.
Now, the third priority that we set ourselves last year was precision medicine, an approach that aims to harness the power of big data and emerging technologies to further our understanding of the genetic, social, and behavioral influences to improve health. UCSF's leadership in precision medicine continues to evolve and escalate under the leadership of Vice Chancellor Keith Yamamoto and Atul Boot, with the support of participants of dozens of faculty members across the campus. Keith is working to keep precision medicine on the national agenda for the next presidential administration and will lead next year's Precision Medicine World Conference here in the Bay Area. Atul, Executive Director of Clinical Informatics for UC Health and leader of the California Initiative to Advance Precision Medicine, represented UC Health at the Precision Medicine Initiative Summit hosted by President Barack Obama at the White House in February. Atul continues his work to give patients the tools to download their own health data from any of the 5 UC academic health centres and to share that information with providers for more effective personalised care and with researchers to accelerate the development of treatments and cures. This spring, the School of Pharmacy established the Quantitative Bioscience Institute, or QBI, directed by Nevin Krogan. The mission of QBI is to drive forward the application of computational, mathematic, and statistical methods towards a deeper understanding of the complex problems in normal biology, human health, and human disease. In June, UCSF hosted a dynamic two-day Precision Public Health Summit in partnership with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and the White House Office of Science and Technology. Under the leadership of Kirsten Bibbins Domingo, the summit was a huge success, drawing 150 of the nation's foremost thought leaders in academia, child and public health, community health, policy, technology, and data science to UCSF to start a conversation about what can be accomplished to be sure that every child, no matter their zip code, will survive and thrive. Kirsten and others are working to ensure that the conversations and connections that were established at the summit will continue in an effort to achieve health equity across the lifespan using large data science and evolving technologies. Now, one of the programs that was highlighted at the summit is the Preterm Birth Initiative, a 10-year global effort jointly funded by Mark and Lynn Benioff in partnership with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and it is featured on our next video.
Five years ago, I was pregnant with twins, and so I delivered the babies early at 28 weeks. One of our twins passed away shortly after birth, and the other is a thriving 5-year-old. Not knowing anything about prematurity before I gave birth, I realized there's not much out there. So when you actually deliver preterm infants, it's not just in the hospital that they're fighting. They fight every day of their lives.
Although prematurity could be significantly reduced and as much as 75% of preemie deaths could even be prevented, we are seeing some of the worst, most alarming statistics we've ever seen in history. In fact, preterm birth is the leading cause of death in kids under 5 across the world. In California, we have some of the worst rates. There are 15 million preemies born each year. Unfortunately, 1 million don't survive, but of the 14 million that do survive, they face lifelong obstacles. This is an epidemic, and it's one that has been silent for far too long.
I think we need to think holistically about this issue. There has been and continues to be a disconnect to some of the environmental challenges in those neighborhoods. We're not thinking about the social emotional support that are lacking in those communities, domestic violence, and all of the other challenges that those historically distressed communities are facing. I think it'll take us to places that we had not considered.
I feel very strongly about improving research and clinical care in preterm birth. A, because I was a preemie, and B, because it disproportionately impacts Black and brown people. And I really feel like there are modifiable behaviors and modifiable interventions that can improve the impact of preterm birth.
It may be twins, high blood pressure, diabetes, what you eat in your diet, in fact, your general health before pregnancy, or how far apart your pregnancies are spaced. But having a healthy pregnancy is so much more than just a medication. That's why, to really turn the curve on preterm birth, it will take a village. It's about having a conversation that includes, first and foremost, the mothers, the families, the communities, along with the providers and the researchers, the policymakers. UCSF is honored to lead this exciting initiative where we get to look at things differently. This is an opportunity to close the tremendous, unconscionable gap when it comes to birth outcomes, and together with the women and communities who are affected by this disease, profoundly achieving something we could never do on our own.
And last, but certainly not least of the four priorities, is our efforts to foster and sustain transformative partnerships across local, regional, national, and global levels. UCSF's ability to lead revolutions in health depends on forming and sustaining such strong, transformative partnerships. It is more important than ever that UCSF stays true to its tradition of collaboration by working with external and internal partners to advance knowledge that yields greater and faster breakthroughs to improve health. Now, earlier in the talk, I described two transformative partnership initiatives in the basic sciences. Our efforts to redefine what's possible in health delivery are also strengthened by forging partnerships with like-minded healthcare institutions in the Bay Area. That's why, under the leadership of UCSF Health President and CEO Mark Larrett, UCSF Health and John Muir Health launched a new company in response to the Affordable Care Act, an accountable care organization we are calling Canopy Health, which creates a network of more than 4,000 primary care and specialist physicians and exceptional local hospitals and community outpatient centers throughout the Bay Area. Canopy Health, which will debut this fall to UCSF employees as part of our open enrollment, is part of our overall population health strategy to deliver more affordable, high-quality care to more patients throughout the Bay Area. The partnership between UCSF Benioff Children's Hospitals in Oakland and San Francisco continues to expand to serve more Bay Area children with high-quality care. The first major integrated service line, a new pediatric heart center, was launched in September. We're also turning our attention to the growing population of seniors. Under the guidance of Principal Investigator Julene Johnson, the School of Nursing is partnering with the San Francisco Department of Aging and Adult Services and the San Francisco Community Music Center in the Community of Voices project. This is a research study that is examining whether singing in a community choir is a cost-effective way to promote health and well-being amongst culturally diverse older adults. Over a 5-year period, new choirs for seniors will be started in 12 senior centers throughout San Francisco. Participants in the study will not only enjoy the sounds of music, but they will help us to design programs to improve the quality of lives for aging adults. Of course, the longest partnership UCSF has forged over our 152-year history is the one established in 1873 with what is now known as Zuckerberg San Francisco General, or ZSFG. This historic partnership is known worldwide for adopting pioneering health initiatives that translate discoveries into better care. This is true for the groundbreaking HIV/AIDS care provided at Ward 86, a program led by Diane Havler. What is now known as the Positive Health Program is featured in this final video.
It's a privilege to work here because Ward 86 has had a huge impact, I think, on HIV/AIDS. And our clinic started in January 1983. It's the oldest HIV clinic in the country and one of the largest. We started the San Francisco model of care, the idea being that everyone here gets all their services in one place. We've had many innovations. They are all as a result of our linkage with the community, with advocates, with people living with HIV. That is the history of ZSFG, and that's the history of the HIV epidemic.
As a 30-year veteran in the fight against AIDS, I can tell you that there's no way we would have the progress that we've had today on so many levels without the cutting-edge leadership of UCSF. Fast forward to today, and UCSF is right where it's always been, right at the cutting edge, with Ward 86 and the Golden Compass program, focused on helping the aging HIV-positive population.
I was diagnosed in back east in New York in 1984, around the early springtime. Ward 86 is really a great place, you know, because it embraces you in a positive way. but it's a good environment where it makes you not stay focused on the negative or the stereotype of what it is, and so you can actually get involved in things that are constructive for you.
Of course, we're all aging, but people who are living with HIV age a little faster. And so this year, we're starting the Golden Compass program. It's the first model in the country where we make sure that they have care for their heart disease, care for cognitive issues that may arise. We're going to do memory classes. We're going to do fitness classes, help with social networking, dental and hearing, and vision. And then finally, a focus on strength and bone health.
We at AIDS Walk San Francisco are just so proud and so very gratified that the Golden Compass program of Ward 86 is receiving $100,000 in support from AIDS Walk San Francisco to launch this program. As the founder and senior organizer of AIDS Walk San Francisco, I can personally attest to the fact that that event would just not be as big and bold and successful an event without UCSF, and it has been that way since day one.
We have had enormous progress in the fight. Really, we just found out this week that we are down in the city of San Francisco by 17% in terms of new infections. We used to have an HIV infection a day, and now we're down to 20 a month. We're going to work on that as well.
Now, before closing my address this afternoon, I would like to acknowledge the life of Dr. Melvin Grumbach, who passed away peacefully this morning at age 90. Mel recruited me to UCSF, so this is an emotional moment. He was a faculty member here for 50 years and generally is known as the father of modern pediatrics at UCSF. He served as chair of the Department of Pediatrics for 20 years from 1966 to 1986, a time of tremendous transformation at UCSF in science, education, and healthcare. He is known internationally as a pioneering endocrinologist, a member of the National Academy of Science, the National Academy of Medicine, and he was honored with UCSF's highest award, the UCSF Medal, in 2010. Mel was a true UCSF giant, and he will be missed. In closing, I want to recognize that our economic strength as a public institution affords us the opportunity and the responsibility to make a real difference in this world. Thanks to all of your hard work, UCSF contributes to the economic vitality of the city and the region. Our work drives innovation, leads scientific and technological discovery, improves the health of patients and populations, and we teach the next generation of healthcare professionals and scientists, many of whom become national and international leaders. Those featured in the videos you saw today, and all of you gathered here, consistently demonstrate the core values adopted by the UCSF Medical Center 16 years ago. They are professionalism, respect, integrity, diversity, and excellence, or our pride values. These values are reflected in the work we all do, and we all share the passion and sense of purpose and promise that these values bestow. I would like to formally acknowledge that these values extend across the entire UCSF community. We have been feeling these values ever since they were first enunciated 16 years ago. To celebrate our collective pride and our accomplishments, I would like to invite you now to join me in a reception outside. Thank you all for your attendance here and your dedication and commitment to the mission as we continue to redefine what's possible in health. And now I'm happy to take any questions if there are any. Thank you very much. I think we can also take questions from the online audience. Right?
Yes, we do have one question. What is UCSF doing to advance environmental sustainability?
So we have a very robust program on sustainability across the campus led by Gail Lee. The president of the university set a very ambitious, I would say audacious, goal of the University of California achieving carbon neutrality by 2025. We are particularly challenged because we run a very large health system which by definition is a high energy consumer, but we are making giant strides towards that goal. We are being encouraged, I am being encouraged continuously by the President to do more, and under Gail's leadership we will continue to work hard on that particular issue. Yes, please.
Thank you. So one of the 4 priority areas that you mentioned is to strive for equity and inclusion and to fight against health disparities. I'm a student here at UCSF, and I'm part of a group that is working to try to keep New Generation Health Center open. This is a really beloved community clinic whose patient population is 92% young people of color and 92% patients below the poverty line. We were really, truly grateful to learn that UCSF has committed to funding this clinic through June, and I can say personally how proud I am to be part of this community. However, we've been hearing from the community that there's still concern that keeping this clinic open beyond June doesn't seem necessarily like a priority. So I wanted to ask on behalf of the student group and the community we've been working with whether this clinic is a priority of UCSF, and if so, what steps are being taken to preserve it?
So thank you for that question. The New Generation Clinic is a very important clinic offering services to a population that is often finds difficult to get access to the appropriate health care. We have made a binding commitment to continue to fund the clinic through next summer and are working very hard with Barbara Garcia, the head of the Department of Public Health here in San Francisco, the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology and Reproductive Sciences, to find a sustainable solution for the clinic so that we can continue to offer services of the kind that are required by the clients of that clinic going forward. So we're working hard on that topic. Well, if there are no more questions, the reception awaits. So thank you all for coming.